Hello and welcome to another episode of Mid-Wicket Monologues. And today we're going to take a look at the upcoming third test between India and Australia to be held at Brisbane. India went into the second test at Adelaide on the back of an incredible win at Perth. But it was not to be in the day-night test as Mitchell Stark and Travis Head proved to be too much to handle for the Indians, and now the series is at 1-1. With a spot in the final of the World Test Championship looming ahead, both India and Australia need to ensure that they get a win in this test match, or else it is going to be very difficult. For Australia, there isn't much to worry about. They just need to worry about the fitness of Josh Hazelwood and if he's going to be back for the team. But in his place, they have Scott Boland, who has proven to be a more than capable deputy. As for India, there are a number of questions that have to be answered at the Gabba, and one of them is the decision between Rohit Sharma and KL Rahul as to who is going to open and who will play in the middle order. At Adelaide, Rohit decided to go down the order and come in after Virat Kohli, sending KL Rahul up front. This seemed like the logical decision to do since both Rahul and Jaiswal had a great partnership at Perth. But is it really making the best use of Rohit? And to be fair, Rahul has proven that he can play anywhere in the batting order, so it doesn't really make any difference whether he opens or if he plays at number 5 or 6. KL is an extremely capable batsman who's proven that he can adapt to different situations, especially away from home. Therefore, I feel it would be better to have Rohit Sharma open the innings with Jaiswal and have the hitman be at his attacking best. Whether it comes off or not is another matter, but at least it frees up some selection dilemmas that the Indian team will have. In the batting department, there is another area that has been troublesome for India for a long time, and there doesn't seem to be a solution for it. Well, that would have to be Virat Kohli and the area outside the off stump, which he seems so keen on getting in contact with. Now, there is no doubt about the greatness of Kohli as a batsman in any format of the game, but he has to show that he can be a little more disciplined and not get out in the same manner over and over again. As fans, it is a bit hard to understand why such a dismissal keeps happening, and it's only Virat that can give us an answer for this. Is there a solution to be found? Is it a case of just not playing a particular shot, or should he just try and trust his instinct and just hope that it pays off? That we will have to wait and see. But if Virat Kohli does not score runs, it makes the Indian job that much harder. Well, if you think about it, there were some positives to be taken from the Adelaide Test despite that crushing defeat, and one of them was the performance of Nitish Reddy. He has proven in these two test matches that he is more than capable of holding his own in the longer format, and that is great news for the Indian team. As far as the bowling is concerned, both Siraj and Bumrah were really dependable, as was Ashwin. The only downside was the performance of Harshit Rana, but that is expected from somebody who's just playing his second ever test match. His inexperience cannot be held against him as he came up against a belligerent Travis Head, and that proved to be a hurdle too far for him. But I think the Indian team will keep their faith in Rana and give him another match to show what he is capable of. It will be tempting to change up the combination and bring in a couple of players just to see if the team is going to win. But I think doing that will affect the balance of the overall setup that the Indian team has been thinking of so far. So, keeping that in mind, it would be better to give Rana another opportunity and maybe he will show us why he was selected in the first place. This brings me to another factor that I noticed during the Adelaide test, and that was the field setup by the Indian team. Well, to be frank, it was quite defensive and it allowed the Australian batsmen to get easy runs, which ultimately proved to be the difference. Whether it was for Nathan McSweeney and Manas Labuschagne or Travis Head, they were able to find runs very easily. Now, you might say that this is because they were just too good and the Indian bowlers did not match up to their level, but I feel that the field setting also had a part to play. India needs to be a little more attacking in how they set up their field so as to not prevent easy runs, as that gives the batsman confidence and that can really hurt them in the end. Coming back to the World Test Championship final, it is almost a given that South Africa will be one of the teams playing. But what about the other team? Is it going to be India or is it going to be Australia? Well, for India, it needs to be a clear series win, as that is what will guarantee them a spot in the final. Now, having lost one match, there is still an opportunity for them to get a 3-1 series win. But as we know, it is never easy to beat the Aussies. And at the Gabba, where the pitch is expected to bounce and seam, it is going to be very difficult given the form that the likes of Pat Cummins, Mitchell Stark, and Scott Boland are in right now. Talking about the day night test that just concluded, I think there is a case to be made to give more bowling to Ashwin, who did show some signs of rhythm. So I didn't really understand why he was given only 18 overs to bowl in the Australian first innings. I think even in a pitch like Gabba, where the speed and bounce is going to be a little more, I feel that Ashwin is the kind of bowler who can make the best use of it, and he has the height to make the best use of it as well. It's something to remember for the Indian think tank, and they probably should give Ashwin a little more bowling. As I was contemplating the defeat in the second test, I couldn't help but wonder that India has played very few day night test matches, and that perhaps is the reason why this defeat happened. And even if you look at the practice match they played before the second test, it wasn't a day night match. Perhaps some practice there could have helped them. And you can make the argument that more practice in such kind of matches is needed, especially given the way the ball seems around in the later part of the day. And that is where Australia really capitalized and broke down the Indian batting. Now, India don't have much time to think about the defeat at Adelaide, and they need to focus on the challenge that lies ahead. That means they need to put up a good showing at Brisbane to ensure that their fight for the final of the World Test Championship is alive, and they need to show Australia that they are not backing down and be a force to reckon with. Well, that comes from the aggressiveness in their batting and their fielding and bowling as well. If there is one area that the Indians need to focus on, it is their batting, as that has been the primary source of problems so far in this series. If they can put up a good score, whether they bat first or bat second, it really increases the pressure on Australia as they too are fighting for a place in that World Test Championship final. And one way of ensuring that the batting does well is to have a set order as to who is going to open, who is going to play in the middle, and so on. India have already had two different combinations of batsmen in the two test matches played so far. So it doesn't really make any sense to again change the players that will take to the field at the Gabba. It would be better if India stuck with the same batting lineup and give them a chance to show that this team can also score runs. And if Rohit is going to open, that is great news for the Indian team, as it means that they are sending out a batsman who has played in a particular position for a long time. As for Rahul, he has played in the middle before and he has done very well there as well. So I would put KL Rahul in the middle order and send Rohit Sharma up front. I think this is the only way that India can get the best out of their captain without disrupting the batting lineup too much. To sum it all up, India need to focus on their batting order and sending out a clear message to their batsmen and tell them about the position that they will be playing in. This kind of clarity is what a team needs, and it could perhaps prove to be the difference between a win and a defeat. As far as changes to the personnel is concerned, there don't have to be any, as it can affect the balance of the team. And just because the team has lost one test match, it is not the end of the world. India need to be a little more aggressive in the field, and the kind of energy that that brings out will surely help the team. The factor of Ashwin will also be important as the spinner has the skill set needed to get the best out of a pitch like the Gabba. So we're all set for an exciting test match that starts on the 14th, and I hope we get to see some great cricket from both sides. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, bye.